The story begins with a girl named Ake Nishiro, who is the rich and popular girl in school. She tries to be liked by everyone but can't stand our protagonist because, even though they have been sitting together for 3 months, he can't remember her name. When she talks to him, it seems like he doesn't pay attention to her. One night, when Nishiro was waiting for her driver who never arrived, she had to walk home alone. This was because some bandits had beaten her driver to a pulp. On her way, the bandits kidnapped her, and the last thing she saw was our main character waking up. He found the 2 bandits who were planning to ask Nishiro's father for a ransom. However, one of the guys had other intentions. In a disguise, our main character intervened and defeated one of the bandits. Although he faced complications while fighting the other guy, he managed to overcome and free Kane. Our protagonist felt guilty because he aspires to become an expert in the shadows but faces limitations in achieving it. Days later, he finally remembered Nishiro's name, and she wanted to know more about him. However, he tragically died after being hit by a truck. Subsequently, he reincarnated in a magical world and became the Eminence of Shadows. He would control a powerful group of girls, and that's how the story begins. Our protagonist reincarnated into the noble Gagerno family, where everyone believed their children would become Dark Knights. The family placed their hopes on the heir, his sister Claire. While he pretended to be a background character, he worked in the shadows. One night, after defeating some bandits, he encountered a deformed creature. Through experimentation, he managed to restore it to its original form and presented himself as the Eminence of Shadows. The creature told him a story about the heroes defeating the devil but being cursed along with their descendants. Our protagonist realized he had the curse as he descended from the heroes. However, he freed himself from the curse and sought the creature's help to fight the cult of the devil. Although he had fabricated parts of the story to gain the creature's assistance, she turned out to be more motivated than expected. Together, they decided to create an organization, establish a base, and gather funds for their cause. They also planned to search for the descendants of the heroes. After finalizing their plans, our protagonist named the organization Alpha. 3 years later, he continued to appear weak in front of his family. However, when his sister was kidnapped, he embarked on a mission to save her with the support of his Shadow Garden organization, which he had recruited over the past 3 years. He had initially deceived them with a fabricated story, but they became his loyal companions. Meanwhile, the bandit chief had a conversation with Claire, suspecting that she had something to do with Clay's near possession. He planned to investigate, causing Claire to become agitated. She refused to let anyone harm her brother, but they managed to put her to sleep. However, the girls took matters into their own hands and ended up killing the bandits. The boss put up a fight, but they still managed to defeat him. Although he escaped, Alpha Shadow had anticipated his actions and took a different route. However, he ended up getting lost, and they stumbled upon him by chance, leading to another confrontation. Our protagonist easily defeated him without any problems. The next day, as Claire was 15 years old, she went to Midgar Academy for Dark Knights. She planned to attend the academy for 2 years until our protagonist also turned 15. Meanwhile, he devised a plan to make the girls believe he was a harmless character. They bid him farewell and revealed that they were going to fight against a worldwide organization known as the Devil Cult. However, he suspected that they knew the truth, that the cult didn't actually exist and they were just playing along to rid the world of bad guys. They left to end their charade, leaving him behind with this knowledge. 2 years passed, and our protagonist enrolled in the Royal Academy to attend the same school as his sister. However, his intention was to become a background character and avoid any involvement with the protagonist of this world. He aimed to act from the shadows. To accomplish this, he made random friends and blended into the background at the Dark Knight School. He strived to be the least remarkable background character. He purposely lost a bet to propose to the most popular girl, Princess Alexia, expecting her to reject him. However, to his surprise, she accepted his proposal. The following day, everyone became envious of our protagonist, and he pretended to be a jerk to make her break up with him. However, Alexia had no intention of leaving him and even spoke highly of him, leading to his acceptance in the best fencing class. This is where we meet Zenon, the official royal fencing instructor, and the princess. They began practicing, and our protagonist realized that Alexia's fencing skills were ordinary. He also discovered that she had agreed to go out with him because she was engaged to Zenon but did not want to marry him. Alexia knew that he didn't have genuine feelings for her as he questioned 2 of her close friends, who confirmed that he had proposed as part of a bet. He decided to blackmail them to continue pretending to be his girlfriend, as he needed the money to act from the shadows. They agreed to his terms, and for the next 2 weeks, he played along with their game. However, during a conversation, Alexia revealed that her sister Iris was considered the most powerful Dark Knight in the kingdom due to her extraordinary swordsmanship. However, our protagonist tells Alexia that he actually appreciates her swordsmanship because he values things that others consider worthless. Unfortunately, she becomes angry and ends their relationship. The next day, Princess Alexia is kidnapped, and our protagonist becomes the main suspect since he was the last person seen with her. In reality, she was kidnapped by a member of the Devil Cult who sought to use her royal blood for a resurrection ritual to summon a demon. They subjected our protagonist to brutal interrogation, but he endured the pain and even found some enjoyment in the experience. Meanwhile, Iris, Alexia's sister, and Claire were deeply concerned about our protagonist and wanted to help him. However, they were prevented from taking any action. Eventually, the princess and our protagonist were released, but they were kept under close surveillance. Alpha accompanied our protagonist as they took turns being each other's personal assistants. She informs him that they have made progress in investigating the cult and have also increased the influence of their organization, Lollipop. However, he still believes that they lead normal lives and goes along with their plan. Alpha reveals to him that the cult was responsible for kidnapping the princess due to the high concentration of royal blood, which is crucial for their dark rituals. Speaking of the princess, our protagonist cannot fathom why she was in a romantic relationship with him but assumes she must have her reasons. Alpha advises him to trust them more. They devise a plan and promise to inform him when everything is ready. Alpha harbors anger towards the individuals who tortured our protagonist and wishes to exterminate them. However, she assures him that it's not necessary, as she is prepared to receive Delta as the Eminence of Darkness, despite the sacrifices and humiliations she had to endure. She informs him that the preparations are complete, and they have mobilized all available personnel in the capital, totaling 114 members. Surprised by the scale of the operation, our protagonist joins the soldiers as they march in the shadows. To incriminate the cult, they plant the princess's shoe as evidence. Alpha had previously informed our protagonist about the involvement of the knights with the cult, so they eliminate everyone who was implicated. While the girls attack the cult's hideouts, the man responsible for the kidnapping hastily offers the processed blood from Alexia to a monstrous creature. Our protagonist cannot comprehend his reasoning for empowering the monster when it was likely to turn on him for mistreatment. Fortunately, the monster inexplicably releases Alexia, but it causes chaos and tries to kill our protagonist, only prolonging his suffering. Alpha arrives just in time and subdues the monster, restoring Alexia to her original form. She takes the princess with her while our protagonist witnesses the events unfold. Alexia attempts to escape but runs into Xenon, who reveals that he financed the doctor's experiments and still requires her blood. Enraged, she attacks him but realizes she is no match for him. Just as Xenon is about to harm her, Shadow appears and engages Xenon in a battle. Shadow proves to be far superior, even when Xenon transforms with a pill. In the end, Shadow swiftly defeats Xenon with a stealthy attack. Alexia witnesses the battle and realizes that Shadow's fencing style is the same ordinary style she had been using, the style she and her sister had criticized. She begins to value her own style and the relationship with her sister. The next day, Alexia thanks our protagonist for his words about her fencing style and expresses gratitude. However, as he is about to leave, he mentions that he was tortured because of her. She asks if he is interested in continuing their relationship, but he immediately rejects the idea, leaving her disappointed. Later, our protagonist is with his random friends, and they discuss buying chocolates, a new innovation in this world. They plan to purchase chocolates to give to a girl they are interested in. On their way, one of them mentions a recent murder. When they arrive at the store, they find it crowded with nobles. A worker approaches our protagonist and asks him to pretend to accompany her for a survey. In reality, she wants to take him to the store owner, Gamma, who happens to be one of the most intelligent members of the Shadow Garden organization. Despite being clumsy, Gamma has managed to establish a large store and invent otherworldly things like chocolate. As Gamma discusses his accomplishments, our protagonist realizes the great fortune Gamma has available to support the organization. Gamma admits feeling overwhelmed by his achievements without any assistance. Gamma then reveals that they want to know the reason behind our protagonist's visit, assuming it is related to the murderer posing as a member of the Shadow Garden. Our protagonist confirms this and assures Gamma that they will eliminate the culprit. But he misinterprets the crime scene and believes he knows who the culprit is, mistakenly suspecting Alexia. Gamma introduces him to the girl from before and informs him that she is the newest member of the organization. She gives our protagonist permission to use her as he sees fit and promises to provide him with high-quality chocolates for free while he steals money from her, which he considers as funds for the organization. Meanwhile, his friends are late and heading to the bedrooms when they hear some commotion. Our protagonist acts as if he needs to use the bathroom urgently to avoid suspicion. His friends promise not to reveal the incident to anyone. Diego and Alexia confront a group of guys, and our protagonist assists Alexia in fighting and defeating them. They leave someone in charge of interrogating the defeated guys. Alexia clarifies to her sister, Iris, that Shadow Garden has no involvement in the murders. However, Iris believes that both the Devil Cult and Shadow Garden are their enemies. The next day, news spreads about our protagonist's embarrassing incident, courtesy of the guys he fought. He realizes that with friends like them, he doesn't need more enemies. When they deliver the chocolates they purchased, they receive what they deserve. Our protagonist gives his chocolates to a random girl named Sherry Barnett, whom Iris had commissioned to decipher an object found in the Devil Cult's lair. He contemplates giving her a gift, but her father advises her that the giver must have loving intentions and he waits for an answer. Since the school doesn't inform him, he cannot obtain information from the guy they mentioned earlier who was supposedly brainwashed. During their conversation, Sherry informs him that the cult engages in shady activities, such as kidnapping orphans and children from poor families to drug and brainwash them, creating children of devils. They plan to use the organization's name to draw them out of hiding. Sherry also mentions a boy named Rex, who is prominent in the royal capital and differs from the previous guys, as he remains alert to everything happening. Sid keeps this information to himself, as he has a plan in mind. Later, a fencing tournament begins, and our protagonist finds out that his best and dear friends have signed him up. He ends up facing Rose Oriana, the student council president, and employs techniques he has been perfecting, which involve pretending to be humiliated. He uses these techniques several times, making his opponents believe he is at the brink of defeat. After winning the tournament, he wanted to continue practicing, so he discreetly bandaged himself to avoid suspicion. Sherry, a girl he doesn't remember, approaches him and expresses her gratitude for the chocolates he gave her by offering him cookies. However, he doesn't recall giving her any chocolates, and she assumes he wanted to connect with her. She suggests becoming friends, to which he agrees without any issues. Sherry calls her father, an important person who had advised him to avoid interaction to stay in the shadows, and informs him that Sherry is currently investigating artifacts for the Order of Knights, which may be the reason for her lack of friends. Meanwhile, Sherry contemplates his feelings and decides to approach Alexia to inquire about their supposed ended relationship. Alexia clarifies that they were never in a romantic relationship and had only pretended for specific reasons. Sherry is pleased with this revelation, and Alexa becomes angered when she notices Sherry potentially having a love interest. Upon returning to school, the council seeks new members, but they encounter a barrier that nullifies magic. Suddenly, individuals from the cult posing as members of Shadow Garden appear. Ross, attempting to confront them, realizes his magic is disabled, leaving him defenseless. They prepare to attack Ross, but Sid intervenes, taking the blow for him. It remains unclear whether Sid employed one of his techniques or if they managed to bypass his defense. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more anime videos.